You want to work in big tech, but if you can't problem solve, then you might as well kiss your dreams goodbye. You see, the whole reason of a coding interview is to see how you solve problems, and most people don't know the right mindsets or strategies to do this. But don't worry, because I'm gonna guide you on how to train your brain to solve any coding problem, and it's actually pretty easy. The fast and slow brain method. Imagine your brain has two modes of thinking, like two different speeds on a car. The first one is your fast brain. This is like being in automatic mode. It's quick, intuitive, and helps you solve familiar problems almost instantly. And it's kind of like driving on a route you already know. But what happens when you're driving on a new road? Well, this is where you switch to your slow brain. Think of this as your brain's manual mode. This is where you're essentially forcing your brain to learn and adapt to new things on the fly. But how does this all relate to coding? Well, imagine if every time you sat down to code, your fast brain could instantly recognize and solve the problems you encounter. That would allow you to almost automatically tackle any coding problem. So, how do we train our fast brain to do this? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You need to train your slow brain first. You see, your fast brain only becomes effective when it's already learned patterns through your slow brain. So, let's say you're learning something new, like a DSA problem or a pattern. You first need to start by engaging your slow brain. This means understanding the intricacies of whatever you're learning. You can do this by drawing out ideas or looking at similar problems, but most importantly, when you get the answer, either by looking it up or finding it on your own, make sure you really learn why the solution works and don't just memorize the answer. Try and think of how you would have come up with that solution and what could have led you in the right path. And over time, after repeated practice and problem solving, your brain will start to categorize these problems into recognizable patterns. Now, this means you'll gradually start developing pattern recognition, and in the future, whenever you face similar questions like in an interview or an assignment, you'll be able to solve it quickly and almost automatically because of this slow to fast brain process. So when you see someone who easily solves really difficult coding problems, the only difference between you and them is that they use their slow brain to really understand the fundamentals of each problem. And with enough repetition and practice, these problems have become part of their fast brain, making it look easy whenever they code. So to sum it up, the more you expose your slow brain to challenges and problems, the more your fast brain will start kicking in when faced with similar problems down the road. The rubber duck technique. The rubber duck technique is simple but really effective. The idea is that you explain your code step by step to a rubber duck, or pretty much anything, as if you were trying to teach it. And here's why this works. Explaining your problem forces you to slow down and really think about every decision you made in your code. And oftentimes when you describe your logic out loud, it's easier to catch bugs or gaps in your reasoning that you'd otherwise miss. So let's break it down. First, you encounter a problem in your code and you're stuck. But before diving back into debugging, grab a rubber duck, or even just imagine one, and pretend it's a beginner programmer. Then start by explaining your code line by line as if you were teaching the duck. But make sure you don't skip anything, because the goal is to simplify your explanation to the point that someone with no prior knowledge could understand.